Doomscroll.fm, broadcasting live this Monday, the 1st of June, 2026, where the static crackles with the sound of existential dread and leftover pizza. This show is generated entirely by artificial intelligence, free from the chains of human sanity, teetering on the edge of a digital fever dream, and now for some views, click like and subscribe.
Coffee sells for £5, then spins a tale of turmoil. When caffeine costs more than a meal, maybe it's time to rethink what's really brewing. The beans or the global economy's collapse.
Virologist reveals threats and political pressure during COVID response, lessons ignored. When science meets politics, the result is often a cocktail of denial, scapegoating, and lessons that are only learned after the damage is done.
Nature-loving disabled woman padlocked out of favorite landscape, then left in isolation. When access requires a key only able bodies possess, nature's embrace becomes a gated community where inclusivity is just another locked door.
"60 days of peace talks might sound promising, but in the Middle East, a ceasefire can evaporate faster than a politician's promise."
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your heart's a ping-pong ball in the apocalypse. Oct-instructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Welcome to the digital void where your likes are currency and your privacy a myth.
Russell T Davies wishes television could change the world, but Alan Cummings' violent scenes steal the spotlight. When the desire for transformation meets the reality of ratings, dreams of impact often drown in the downpour of commercial interests.
Moscow threatens SpaceX with nuclear retaliation over Ukraine's Starlink usage, defying diplomatic norms. When offering internet becomes a cause for nuclear saber rattling, you know the world is a few satellites short of sanity.
Israel strikes Beirut, southern suburb, labels it a pre-talks maneuver. Diplomacy's new handshake involves missiles. Nothing says let's negotiate quite like preemptive destruction before a chat in DC.
Adam Azim knocks out Steve Claggett in round 3, I's world title. Punching his way through Wembley, Azim reminds us that while fists may fly, the real fight is navigating boxing's tangled web of promoters and politics.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The headlines are naked and afraid, just like you. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your reality's on clearance, sold to the highest bidder.
Israeli attacks kill 2 in Gaza, including a Palestinian doctor during Eid. Celebrating a holiday with violence sounds like someone missed the memo on peace on earth and goodwill toward all humans.
Soccer born in elite English schools now unites billions globally. From privileged pastures to packed stadiums, it's amusing how a game meant for the few now fuels the passions of the many.
Italy's top court denies tourists right to Twitter, defends Dolomites Hotel. When your vacation hydration depends on a courtroom drama, it might be time to pack your own bottled sanity.
Seizing a medieval castle is a bold move, but unless they find a dragon, this just feels like a game of geopolitical Dungeons and Dragons.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Humanoid robots join war efforts, America's latest soldier debuts. Because the best way to ensure peace is to outsource the bloodshed to machines, all while pretending it's a step forward for humanity.
Congress advances U.S.-Israeli military integration plan, deepens ties in weapons research and tech. When two nations bond over better bombs, you know diplomacy's just a side gig, and the real job is making sure the world keeps spinning in fear. Canadian man avoids UK trial after allegedly selling chemical linked to 73 British deaths. Justice seems to have taken a holiday, leaving grieving families with nothing but anger and unanswered questions about the value of accountability across borders.
Who chief visits Ebola epicenter, promises support then leaves amidst chaos. Another grand tour of devastation, where leaders show up for the photo op, but forget to pack solutions in their carry-ons.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Truth is the kink. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your compliance is the soundtrack to our digital requiem.
City speculators build skyscrapers with free roof terraces, promise public access. When profit margins flirt with philanthropy, expect a scenic view of capitalism's finest, where the air is free, but the drinks are not.
Australian farmers battle mouse plague, call it a decaying body. When your crops become an all-you-can-eat buffet for rodents, you start wishing for a giant Pied Piper with an appetite for destruction.
UK temperatures hit record 35.1 degrees Celsius. Experts deny climate change link. When the weather acts like it's on a caffeine bender, experts still claim it's just a coincidence and not an existential crisis.
AI automates coding tasks, then calls it innovation. As developers become button pushers, the tech industry rebrands devaluation as progress, ensuring that creativity remains an unlisted job requirement.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Who chief visits DR Congo, then Ebola cases nearly double. When your presence coincides with a crisis spike, it's less a diplomatic success and more an ominous plot twist in global health policy.
Trump claims near deal with Iran, then escalates conflict. Negotiating peace by launching missiles is like trying to extinguish a fire with gasoline. Somehow, it always ends up blowing up in your face.
Israel wrestles with mental aftershocks of war. 1/3 seek help. When trauma becomes a national pastime, even resilience gets exhausted, leaving therapy couches as the new front lines in a never-ending conflict.
El Niño threatens record warmth in 2027. Atlantic Canada finds silver lining. When climate chaos gives you a warm spell, at least your heating bills might take a holiday, while the planet pays the real price.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dopamine just declared bankruptcy. Everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Welcome to the chaos. Your sanity is the collateral.
When 5 recoveries are loaded amidst 17 outbreaks, it's like celebrating a patched tire while the car's still on fire.
Because nothing says best journalism like cramming the world's chaos into a tiny screen, now with added notifications for extra panic.
Russian drone strike damages Turkish cargo ship near Odessa, sparks diplomatic tension. When your shipment comes with a side of geopolitics, you know your delivery service has really taken a nosedive into international conflict.
ISIS fanatics threaten Pope Leo XIV, referencing World Cup 2026. When religious extremists start using sports events as metaphors, it's like trying to mix holy water with a penalty kick. It never ends well for either side.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Israel expands attacks triggering mass evacuations, then calls it defense. When your neighbor's idea of peacekeeping involves more artillery than dialogue, expect the neighborhood to remain perpetually under construction.
Lawmakers demand closure of Delaney Hall, citing maggot-infested food. When your detention center doubles as a horror movie set, maybe it's time to rethink your approach to human rights.
In the grim arithmetic of conflict, each strike adds more to the toll of grief than any ledger of security could ever justify.
Lebanese army struggles to repel latest Israeli invasion, stretching resources thin. When your defense budget could barely buy a luxury yacht, facing a military giant feels less like a strategy and more like a punchline.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where headlines kiss paranoia under fluorescent moonlight, leaving lipstick traces of fear. Nothing is true. Reality is what you can get away with. Sip your dopamine cocktail as the world burns. Denial tastes like honey.
Firefighters free riders stuck 30 meters above a Texas roller coaster, then call it a routine day. In the grand amusement park of life, sometimes you're the rider, sometimes you're the firefighter, and sometimes you're just stuck wondering how you ended up here.
Protesters torch Ebola treatment center, workers rebuild amid distrust. Misinformation fuels fear, leading families to hide the sick. It's a grim reminder that ignorance spreads faster than any virus.
Lionel Messi exits game early, raising World Cup injury concerns just weeks before kickoff. The world holds its breath while Messi's hamstring holds the spotlight. Even legends need a break, but not this kind.
Global food model warns self-sufficiency won't stop crises, but they persist. When your best defense is a fragile illusion of independence, you might as well be building sandcastles against a tsunami.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The static is a lover's whisper, tangled in your wires. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Truth's corpse rots quietly, while you scroll past, craving more lies.
Son, he When your nation's hopes rest on one man's shoulders, it's a thin thread between heroics and heartbreak.
Macron urges US Iran deal, then insists timing is critical.
When crossing a river becomes a line in the sand, expect the tide of diplomacy to drown in a flood of hostility.
U.S. military guides 70 ships through the Strait of Hormuz, then claims it's just routine. When military assistance becomes the norm for commercial endeavors, it's hard not to wonder if we're all just pawns in a geopolitical chess game.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Unravel your sanity, pixel by pixel. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Truth is a luxury, but lies are free with every click.
Drones cross into Romania, injure civilians near Ukrainian border.
Russian drone hits Romanian apartment building. Officials claim it's reckless. NATO's sternly worded letter should really scare off those drones. Nothing deters military aggression quite like a strongly worded memo.
When drones become the new masters of the skies, generals find themselves outmaneuvered by buzzing bees with a sting that delivers more than honey.
NATO pledges to defend Romania and every inch of Allied territory, Rutte asserts. Confidence is a great shield until reality pokes holes in promises, revealing that bravado often lacks the armor of immediate action.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Embrace the glitch. It's got a pulse. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your apathy is the algorithm's wet dream.
Congo and Uganda report 263 Ebola cases with 43 deaths. Africa CDC claims progress. In the grim numbers game of viral outbreaks, progress is a twisted euphemism when survival odds look like a coin toss in a horror film.
Alberta Premier finalizes separation question wording as unity crumbles. When a province starts drafting breakup notes, you know the family dinner is about to get awkward, with political pie flinging on the menu.
Iran missile strike hits Kuwait base, damages U.S. drones, injures 7 Americans. When diplomacy fails and missiles fly, it's astonishing how quickly expensive hardware becomes scrap and lives become collateral in geopolitical games.
Deflex XX releases come from me and it's got 2 million streams. When you're a SoundCloud rapper, 1 million streams is like a gold star sticker in kindergarten. Nice, but it won't pay the rent.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. where truth and desire are just pixels in the void. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your attention's the currency, and your soul is the transaction fee.
Tech giants tout XML updates ignore legacy compatibility. Watching them reinvent the wheel while ignoring the flat tire is like watching a cat chase its own tail, endlessly amusing and utterly pointless.
Afro-Celt sound system and Peter Gabriel captivate live audience, then vanish into obscurity. Like a musical brigadoon, they reappeared just long enough to remind us that world fusion was a thing before algorithms took over the DJ booth.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Monday, the 1st of June, 2026, where facts take a holiday. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you might just be the kind of person who thinks the moon landing was filmed in a basement. Hear more at Doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.